What you might call a Texas-sized question today for Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker. CNN's K-File reports Walker's getting a $1,500 tax break because he listed a Texas home as his primary residence this year. A local Texas official tells the K-File Walker took that tax break for both 2021 and 2022, that being after launching his Senate bid in Georgia. Walker is the Republican trying to unseat Senator Raphael Warnock in a December 6th runoff election. Our great reporters are back with us. This is not hard. Basic campaign 101, check the tax forms, check your housing forms, check everything else. He's taking a tax deduction on a primary residence in Texas while running for the Senate in Georgia. Bad.
Not good. Not good, folks. In terms of the fact that this happened in 2021 and 2022, after launching his bid, potentially after winning the primary, it just shows sort of the lack of vetting that is in this process on the Republican side in the state of Georgia, in part because former President Donald Trump decided to give Herschel Walker his stamp of approval, and he did not need to be vetted as a result. And voters decided to follow Trump's lead. And now there are a number of Republicans in Georgia who are unhappy with the fact that Herschel Walker is their candidate. He was trailing in the original race, and now we're going to a runoff. And it seems like a lot of the steam is running out of his campaign. Now, we don't know what's going to happen in a couple of weeks when voters vote, but this is not the kind of headline you want to try to motivate voters in Georgia to say that you should represent them. There are already a number of Georgians who say Herschel Walker should not be our representative. The fact that he's claiming a tax break in Texas does not help that at all.
It doesn't have a lot of room for error in that I think there were, 200,000 people who voted for the Republican candidate for Governor Brian Kemp who did not vote for the Republican Senate candidate. So you already have a Republican enthusiasm question. If you're starting to see headlines, the guy who wants to represent you is getting a tax break for a house in Texas, not helpful.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys mentioned, there's a huge enthusiasm gap on the Republican side. I think that's only going to increase now that Democrats for sure have control of the Senate. I mean, adding another Democratic senator would help them in terms of what they're able to do. But I don't think you're going to see many Republicans and independents who didn't vote for Walker the first time who are incentivized to get out there and vote for him this time, right? We have seen Republicans try to counteract that. Brian Kemp is out there with leaflets. They're mailing with just his photo. Walker's not even on them, saying, please go support Herschel. And he also cut a direct-to-TV ad, but, you know, only time will tell, I think. But
that's an interesting point, though, about what is Kemp thinking here in the sense that he campaigned with Walker over the weekend. He did not campaign at all with him before the general election in November. He campaigned with him over the weekend. You mentioned the leaflets. He's cut a deal with Mitch McConnell to turn over essentially his voter file, his turnout operation, and the ad you mentioned right here.
Herschel Walker will vote for Georgia, not be another rubber stamp for Joe Biden. That's why I'm backing Herschel, and I hope you'll join me in voting for him too.
Didn't say a peep in the normal election. Now all on board in the runoff election. Why?
I mean, that's what the party's got to do to get him across the finish line at this point. And to your point a moment ago, I was talking to someone who's involved with the campaign in Georgia this morning, and the Republicans are hoping that there is going to be a huge drop-off in terms of the number of voters that turn out. And we saw so many of those ticket splitters this time, the Kemp-Warnock voters. It's really a question, I guess, that the GOP is wondering whether those folks will actually be motivated to turn out. And the best case scenario for them is that, you know, the people that had an issue with Walker in the first round will just potentially stay home. We don't know how big that group will be, but that's kind of their best bet here.
Right. And you hear the argument from Brian Kemp making it, you need to vote for Herschel Walker to essentially check Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Right. Well, two Republican senators in the current Senate who know they were going to spend the next 2 years in the minority, Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, with Walker last night, doing a television interview with him last night. Ted Cruz making a similar point.
Chuck Schumer has told you he doesn't want Herschel Walker to win. He doesn't want a 50-50 Senate. Why is that? Because in a 50-50 Senate, the committees are even, which slows him down. If Raphael Warnock wins, Schumer can expedite confirming radical judges to take away your free speech rights, your religious liberty rights, your Second Amendment rights.
That's a GOTV effort, as we call that.
Yeah, it's a harder message to take, not to nationalize this race when you're not talking about control of the Senate. You're talking about some of the intricacies of the Senate, 50-50 versus 50-51. You lose a lot of voters when you start getting in the weeds like that. And so this race is not as important as it would have been if it was going to determine who's going to control the Senate. And so there are a number of Republicans who may have been able to cross over and hold their nose and vote for Herschel Walker if it meant control of the Senate. And a number of these different rights that Senator Cruz was talking about were more sort of hanging in the lurch. But instead, this is going to be, a Democratic-controlled Senate no matter what. Democrats are going to run the committees no matter what. And some of these inside baseball things that Senator Cruz was talking about is going to lose a lot of voters, and it's going to be hard to motivate people based on that.
And yet the flip side is if the mood among Democrats becomes, A, we already have the majority no matter what happens here, and B, we got this race, right? Walker has all these problems, we got it. So I don't have to vote, it's covered, which is why Obama's coming in, the former President Barack Obama coming in on December 1st, 5 days before the runoff. And while Warnock is running a very aggressive TV ad campaign questioning first on Walker's character and here on whether you can trust him on anything.
The whole country's finished voting, and only us left. You'd think Herschel Walker would want to explain what he'd do in the Senate if he actually wants to represent Georgia. Instead, he repeats the same lies, trying to distract from what we all know is true about him. But I think Georgians will see his ads for what they are. Don't you?
Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, the Warnock ads are catchy. They've just been effective throughout the campaign.
Yeah, they do land pretty well. I mean, people pay attention to them. I think the other thing about Warnock that's interesting is he's running a very consistent message. Like you said, campaign stops all of this week. He's saying the exact same thing. This race is about character. It's about competence. Why would you give these powerful tools of the Senate to someone who doesn't stand up for either? That is his message. And then on the other side of things, you have Herschel Walker, who there's just more controversies coming out. The latest being this, Texas residency, right? So I think that definitely works in Democrats' favor going into this.
Is this the third time fourth time Warnock's had to run for this seat in 2 years? Mm-hmm. Essentially, election, runoff, election,
Lots
runoff.
of practice.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just, how on earth does Herschel Walker drive a message with distraction after distraction? And, this latest one is different because people look at that and say, well, I don't have those advantages. And I don't, there's no way for anyone to explain that.
And so you want to look at the stakes, just look at the spending. This is so far. We have, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago in this race? Democrats have spent more than $25 million. Republicans have spent $16 million if you round up, and more to come.